right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're investigating a hidden danger lurking in our modern AI-powered workflows. We're actually going to do this by solving a bit of a forensic mystery. Because right now, across the business world, there is a massive assumption being made about how humans and AI work together, and, well, the data suggests we might be walking right into a trap.
Which brings us to the million-dollar question we're unpacking today. What happens to our judgment when AI makes every routine call? When an artificial intelligence takes over all those mundane, day-to-day decisions, what actually happens to our own ability to make decisions? The common belief is that, hey, you can just let the AI run on autopilot, and if something goes wrong, you'll instantly snap back into full analytical mode to fix it. But assuming your brain works like a simple on and off switch, that is a really dangerous illusion.
So let's talk about part 1, the AI automation illusion. To understand why this is an illusion, let's look at the landscape right now in 2026, where AI copilots are completely transforming how teams operate.
54%. According to the Project Management Institute's 2026 research, that is how much of their week project managers previously lost to administrative work. We're talking status updates, meeting notes, risk logs, endless schedule adjustments. Today, AI tools handle almost all of this instantly, without being asked twice. On paper, it's a massive win. I mean, nobody misses writing status reports at 11 p.m., right? This incredible time saving has given rise to a sort of golden rule for modern work. Offload the routine, save your judgment for the exceptions. It sounds absolutely airtight. You'll find it in literally every modern playbook published this year. It sounds like a trade any smart professional would take, but it has a massive unstated assumption built right into it. It assumes that your judgment stays perfectly sharp while sitting completely idle in reserve, just waiting for that rare exception to pop up.
And that is a deeply flawed assumption. Which brings us to part 2, the 1999 Cockpit studies. To see exactly why this standby theory fails in the real world, we need to look at the forensic evidence from a high-stakes experiment we actually already ran decades ago.
You see, the exact logic being used by software vendors today, automate the routine 54% and free up the human for high-level strategy, that was actually pioneered back in 1970s aviation design. The idea was to give pilots an autopilot for routine flight and keep them in reserve for emergencies. Boeing and Airbus built generations of flight decks on this exact premise. But nobody bothered to ask what happens to a pilot's ability to catch an error after months of letting the automation make all the routine calls. This blind spot ultimately led to some rigorous psychological testing in the 1990s to find out.
That leads us to part 3, understanding automation bias. In 1999, human factors researchers Linda Skitka, Kathleen Mosier, and Susan Burdick designed a high-stakes simulator study to test this exact blind spot. And let me tell you, their results completely shattered the whole standby judgment theory.
So what do they actually do? They placed highly trained, veteran pilots into advanced flight simulators equipped with state-of-the-art automated decision aids. First, they let the pilots get comfortable, letting the computer handle the routine flight checks. But then, the researchers laid a trap. They intentionally had the automated systems present plausible but entirely incorrect diagnostic recommendations during a critical event, like an engine fire. The results? Honestly, they were chilling. They discovered a phenomenon known as automation bias. Once pilots had practiced trusting the automation during routine tasks, their critical checking reflexes simply shut down. They became so heavily reliant on the computer's summary that they missed glaring, critical errors, even when the raw, blinking instrument data was sitting right there in front of them, directly contradicting the screen. They weren't being lazy. Actually, their brains had simply stopped engaging with the problems the machine was supposed to be handling. They had practiced trusting, but they hadn't practiced checking. This simulator study brilliantly illustrates their most crucial finding, the difference between two specific types of errors. Errors of commission happen when the AI tells you to do something wrong and you actively do it. But the researchers found that errors of omission, where the pilot passively fails to notice a problem that the automation completely missed, were far more frequent. Passive errors of omission were the far bigger, much more invisible risk, precisely because you don't even realize you're making them until the whole system breaks down entirely.
Which brings us to part 4, modern proof of atrophy. Let's fast forward a bit and see how this exact same omission error risk is currently wreaking havoc across modern industries today.
This phenomenon has quietly spread everywhere. Back in 2004, a study in academic radiology looked at computer-aided detection in mammography. They found that when the AI gave a wrong prompt, the radiologist's own detection accuracy measurably dropped compared to when they read the scans with no AI help at all. The bad automated suggestion basically anchored their reading. We see the exact same thing in May 2026, when Harvard Business Review found that AI is making employees work so fast that it completely outpaces a manager's capacity to actively check the work. The managers aren't getting worse, they just lack the bandwidth to rederive every AI-assisted call. And finally, 2026 McKinsey research identifies a micro-productivity trap where individual tasks speed up, but overall organizational judgment stalls. Whether it's a 2004 radiology suite or a 2026 enterprise software sprint, when a system takes over routine judgment, the human checking muscle quietly, invisibly degrades.
And this atrophy builds into a massive organizational problem. Just look at McKinsey's 2026 data. It shows something startling. Even though 91% of companies have deployed AI, a staggering 94% reported seeing absolutely no significant measurable value from it. Why? Because they optimized the speed of individual tasks, but they didn't redesign their workflows to keep human verification engaged. They fell right into the exact same omission error trap we saw in those 1999 Cockpit studies.
Compounding all of this, the Project Management Institute's 2026 data reveals a severe skills gap. Only 20% of project managers report having real, practical AI experience, while 49% report having almost none. Think about what that means. It means the vast majority of the people approving AI-generated risk assessments and sprint plans right now have the least practiced judgment when it comes to catching an AI's errors. They are literally the most exposed to automation bias. So the crucial takeaway here is this. Human judgment is a practiced skill, exactly like a muscle. And just like a physical muscle, it atrophies without daily active resistance. You cannot leave it on a shelf for 6 months and expect it to be ready for heavy lifting when an emergency strikes. So how do we fix this? Welcome to Part 5, Rebuilding Your Judgment Muscle. Fortunately, we don't need to throw away our AI copilots or go back to writing status reports at midnight to fix this. We just need to build a new daily habit. The fix is actually brilliantly simple. Step 1. Before you even open the AI-generated report or risk assessment, take just 60 seconds to write your own assessment or guess on a sticky note. Step 2. Open the machine's output. Step 3. Compare your human intuition to the AI's calculation. It's essentially forcing yourself to do a manual practice run, just like airlines require pilots to do periodic manual flying to keep their skills sharp despite having an autopilot.
This simple habit keeps your analytical brain active, and crucially, it catches context that the AI simply cannot read. Imagine the AI flags a vendor dependency as low risk, but your initial sticky note guess was medium risk because you remember a slipped delivery date from last quarter. You dig in for 5 minutes and discover that vendor's parent company is going through a quiet acquisition. The AI had no way to know that because it wasn't in any system it could read. This zero-cost daily habit prevents missed deadlines and catastrophic bad launches purely by keeping your checking muscle strong.
So I want to leave you with this provocative question to ponder. The next time you go to mindlessly click approve on an AI summary, ask yourself if your judgment is sitting on a shelf. Are you practicing trusting or are you practicing checking? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to start implementing the sticky note habit in your very next AI workflow.